Good morning. My name's Lane Morgan. I'm with the Berkeley Chamber, and I appreciate everybody joining us this morning for our coffee chat. This morning, we're going to be talking about the Local Cares funding opportunity for small business. During COVID, one of the main things is where can we get a loan? What's available? Who can we talk to? So today, we're going to have Melanie. Melanie, pronounce your name again.
It's Melanie Pashluck.
Everybody forgive me. Y'all know I have a speech impediment and I do not want to mispronounce her name. And Melanie is from COG, and she's over the revolving loan fund program. And being on the COG board, I look at that every time we meet, and they have all kind of interesting people applying for the loan, and it's all kind of different amounts. So this could be something that could be very, very beneficial. Melanie is having a little bit of problem with her video, but anybody would like to cut their camera on it that we can see you later on. And if you want to ask the question, just write it in the chat box or raise your hand. This will be recorded and put on our web, and we will be sending it out to different chamber members. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Melanie. Melanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for having me. I'll go ahead and get started. So as you know, my name is Melanie. I'm the loan administrator at Berkeley Charleston Dorchester Council of Governments. I manage the revolving loan fund here, as well as the supplemental funding that we receive through the CARES Act, which is specifically for COVID relief. Simone, you can go ahead and go to that first slide. And there you'll actually be able to see my face since my video is not working. Thank you. So our original revolving loan fund is an alternative source of funding for businesses that are unable to obtain funding through traditional means such as banks. It was created primarily to assist the private sector by stimulating long-term private investment and employment in the Berkeley, Charleston, Dorchester region. The funding is used to assist startups as well as growing businesses that are going to create and retain jobs in the area, which in turn promotes economic growth and development in the region. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, Simone. Thank you. So last year, when the CARES Act was passed, the EDA awarded us a grant of $560,000 to further assist the private sector, and specifically to provide relief from economic losses relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. The main goal with this new funding was to get resources to these small businesses in our area as quickly and easily as possible. In order for them to do in order for us to do this, the EDA offered us certain flexibilities and changes to our original RLF program and plan, and give us certain minimum requirements that we could work with. The next slide, please. So there's a lot of writing on this, basically showing just the variations from our regular RLF revolving loan fund and then the CARES fund. So these variances include that the requirement for a minimum interest rate is waived. For all the CARES RLF funding, the interest rates are all fixed and will be based on the Wall Street Journal prime rate at the time that a completed application is submitted. And then from there, it's also determined based on the strength of the request. The requirement to leverage additional capital, which our traditional RLF requires within 12 months of loan approval, that has also been waived. So for the CARES funding, for businesses that are applying, they would no longer need to do that. They also allowed the requirement for applicants to seek credit elsewhere. We have waived this as well. So generally, we do not want to compete with other banks. We are separate from banks. We can provide supplemental funding and partner with banks and provide additional funding, but we don't want to compete with them and take business from them. So we did have a requirement in our traditional RLF for applicants to prove that they could not find funding from traditional banks, generally in the form of a bank denial letter. So we no longer have that requirement as well for the CARES funding. We also organized an internal loan review committee that's comprised of staff members only, and they can determine loan approval without having to go to the board. So this was obviously established to help expedite that approval process and help get that money out faster. Another flexibility we have is with our collateral requirements. We obviously still require and request for some collateral, but we don't have, we can also determine this based on the loan review committee can determine it based on the strength of the loan and the loan request, and establish with them and work with the business on what type of collateral we can accept. Lastly, our biggest change for the CARES funding is that the borrower has the option to defer interest payments with no accrual for up to the first 12 months of the loan. Next slide, Simone. So existing businesses in the Tri-County region are all eligible to apply. They should be able to provide us, and we highly encourage them to provide us with evidence of revenue loss since the start of the pandemic. We determine eligibility upon the submission of a completed application, as well as all supplemental financial information that we may request. There's a list of things that we do require within the application, and we also do let an applicant know that there might be additional information requested of them. So business owners and employers may apply for loans ranging from $10,000 to $100,000. Other loan terms will be determined by the internal loan review committee and is based on the strength of the loan request, including the amount of the loan, type of collateral, strength of the borrower, and ability to repay. For the main goal of these programs, for both programs, and still for the CARES RLF, the main focus is the creation and retention of jobs in the region. So for every $10,000 lent, we have to show that we have one full-time created or retained by that business.
Can I ask a question?
It is, sure.
You said that business owners and employees can request for a loan?
No, employers.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why an employee would need to do that.
No, thank you for clarifying that. Yes, it is just businesses, the owners of the businesses, aka employers. Yes,
Got it.
can apply only. Thank you. Let's see. So some of the uses of the funds when applying can include acquisition, land or real estate acquisition, building construction or expansion, machinery, equipment, as well as working capital. And obviously for the CARES funding, it will be primarily for COVID relief. Simone, next slide, please. So on this next slide, this shows what it looks like for to fill out and submit an inquiry. So our website is www.bcdcogs.com, and that'll bring you up to our homepage. And if you go to the Economic Development tab on the right there and click on the BCD COGS CARES Revolving Loan Fund page, at the top there'll be a blurb, and it gives a little bit more information on the CARES Act funding. And then when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see this form. So anyone who's interested in applying or simply finding out more information or have questions, you can direct them here. They can complete this form and it is submitted directly to me. From there, I'll be able to contact that person with more information or answer their questions and provide an application if they so wish. So an application, again, must be completed in its entirety and include all of the requested documentation in order for us to determine if a business is eligible for our funding. Next slide, please, Simone. I believe. Okay, so yes, so this just shows the first page of our application, and I already spoke a little bit about how to apply. On the 6th page, I believe, of this application has that list of documents that we require to start. And again, we might need to go back depending on the type of business and the type of the borrower. We would potentially need to ask for additional information. So as long as we can get a complete application, we will be able to determine eligibility. And the next page, I believe, Simone, is just my contact information. But I do want to say, so to date, we have lent around $175,000. So there's still ample funding to give out. Loans are considered on a first come, first served basis. So I encourage anyone interested to not hesitate to reach out as soon as possible. I am available by email. Direct line is there, as well as my work cell phone. And as I showed you on that website as well, they can send out a quick form to fill out, and it does not, obligate them to anything. It's just if they want more information, they can fill out that form as well, and I can help out and answer any questions they might have. That is the gist. Can I answer any questions or make any clarifications?
Melanie, I had a quick question. For your applicants who have applied for the original RLF, are they also eligible for the CARES RLF program?
Generally, I suppose I would say yes. However, if they are specifically needing funding for COVID relief, and then maybe as well as, they want to expand their business, but need some help in the meantime due to, losses because of the pandemic, that would generally, in my opinion, fall under the CARES funding. So the regular RLF is usually for those who would not need funding due to losses because of the pandemic.
Okay.
That's the main difference between the two. But they don't need to decide that. If a business owner isn't sure, they can submit the application and I can go over it and determine, once I have more information, which program that they would better fit them.
Yeah, I guess, if you already have someone in the initial RLF program and let's say, COVID hit them, would they be eligible to apply for the CARES program, if that makes sense?
I gotcha. Yes, I understand. I think they would be eligible, but it would depend on several factors because the EDA does not encourage funding from multiple sources. But yeah, so we haven't had any requests from our current loans from the RLF program, but if that comes up, I think it would be considered on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is there a business size or revenue requirement for applying for funding for either fund?
No, there is not. We do ask for the business financials, which will include income statements and profit and loss statements, but we don't have a minimum requirement for that. The only thing I would say, and it's really the most important thing, is that that job to lending ratio. We are looking to promote economic development with both of these programs. So that means creating and retaining jobs. So as long as the business can prove that they can retain or create jobs, then that would be the top thing. And like I said, so every $10,000 we lend, we have to prove one job has been created or retained. So they can apply for a certain amount of a loan amount based on that.
Okay. And is that the same for the initial program too? For every $10,000, they need to retain one employee? Or
That's
is-
correct. Yeah. For
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Mhm. And I'll also say, while we're waiting to see if anyone has any other questions, there are some fees associated. I just want to be open and clear about that. There is a $500 application fee. We do not ask for that until we've reviewed a complete application and determined eligibility. So if a business applies, we won't demand $500 of them if they're not even able to qualify for the program. And then once the loan is approved, there are fees associated with the closing, which the borrower will be responsible for. I just wanted to be clear on that.
And then can you just share again for us where folks can find updates on this program?
Sure. Our website is probably the best place to go to find information and updates. That's www.bcdcog.com. And you can find information on the regular revolving loan fund and the CARES revolving loan fund over at the Economic Development tab at the top of the web page.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more questions popping in. Did anyone else have any other questions? And if not, then I'll turn it back over to you, Elaine.
Melanie, thank you so very much. We will be sending this out, so more contact. Allison, did you have any other question before we leave?
No, I was just wanted to be introduced to the program. I didn't know anything about it beforehand, so this was just a good introduction for me.
Absolutely. The more information that we can get out about what is available at this time, especially for our small business people, definitely. And anything that we can do to help you, you just give us a call or email us. Okay, Allison? Again, Melanie, thank you so very much. We're going to be pushing this out on our social media. And also, I think Melanie's going to send us a YouTube that we're going to include in that also. So with that, I'm not going to hold y'all up, but I hope you'll have a great day and a blessed day and be very safe. Thank you for joining us for Coffee Chat. Bye-bye.
Thank you.